Will it hold? Will the homemade bridge that we built for the four-wheeler and the side-by-side hold the tractor? Hi, Chad here with Purple Collar Life. Have some more brush hogging to do tonight. I wanted to tell you a quick story first about a gas cap and then have you watch for something. As I'm driving the Ford 8N tonight, now remember this is an early 8N. This is the 8Ns before the steering had adjustment. So you can see over the time of the last 60, 70 years, our steering is really worn out. So if you guys have suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Those of you that are Ford 8N experts, the only thing I can think to really do is replace that entire steering box assembly. And I believe that's probably a pretty complicated task. But for those of you just interested in watching, I'll put it in third gear. Remember, this tractor has 4 gears, but I'll only use third as I go down the road to my mom and dad's house, because anything faster than third, those wheels really wobble on the front, even with the steering wheel held solid. And you'll see I'll put my foot down on the steering linkage to try to maintain stability as it goes down the road. Otherwise, it would really wobble back and forth and jerk left to right. So you'll see that as we get going. Brush hogging really does stir up the allergies. I said I'd tell you a story about a gas cap. Now this is the same setup that was on my Ford 2N tractor, and it had this same nice flat gas cap. The original gas cap was on it when I first got it, and I would always fill it and set the cap right there like that. And in the Fords, usually there's a wrench, or in our case, a stick that you put down in the fuel tank to show you how much gas you have left. That line for us is the do not let it go below that line, because it starts to run rough, so we always keep it above that line. And like I say, some of the Ford tractors actually had a wrench that they would store in this toolbox with measurement lines on them to set the plow depth, and those lines also were useful for checking the gas in your gas tank. But anyhow, on the 2N, I left the cap here, and as you can imagine, one day in a rush, after filling the tank, I just closed the lid and lost the cap. And it's really hard to find an original, and a lot of the replacements, first of all, they don't seal as well, and second of all, if they have any type of a lip on them, it interferes as you're closing that lid, and then it'll always rub on the top here. And that's what happened on my 2N, was that the gas cap rubbed on the top. It made a lousy noise all the time. Just a tip, if you're fueling up, always make sure you put that cap back in place. And then this is that steering. As I mentioned, as I go down the road, you'll see this linkage will go back and forth a lot fast as you're going. In fact, if you're in 4th gear, it's almost uncontrollable. I'll end up putting my foot right here to stabilize this all. Otherwise, the front wheel would wobble back and forth. And on the newer versions of the 8N tractors, there's actually some adjustment on that steering gear box, and unfortunately these older ones there's not, so it looks like it's just going to be that way until we eventually replace that entire box. We'll be in 3rd gear. So what I typically do when I'm brush hogging is, in an area where I know exactly where any obstructions are, like rocks or stumps, I'll go ahead and mow driving forward, because I know where those things are after brush hogging several times, and I know how to avoid them. If I'm not sure about an area, I'll still go forward, but I'll go really slow in first gear so that I can look down as my front tires go over an object, or as the center of the tractor goes over an object, and watch for obstructions that would hit the brush hog as it mows. Now, I don't mind mowing backwards as long as I know what I'm going into, but I would never mow in reverse in an area that I'm not familiar with, because it would be too easy to hit a big rock or a big stump and mess up, break the shear pin on the drive system, or really mess up one of the blades of the brush hog. So you'll see, when I'm brush hogging, most of the time I'm driving forward, either because I know the area and I can move quicker that way, or because I'm looking for things. So this is Dad's end of that same electric right away that we mowed our end of down to the bridge. So we're gonna go ahead and mow Dad's end up to the bridge so that everything to and from the bridge is cut down. You can see he mows a portion with his regular lawnmower, but we're gonna take the rest of that brush and weeds down. Will it hold? Will the homemade bridge that we built for the four-wheeler and the side-by-side hold the tractor with loaded rear tires, weight on the front, and the brush hog to cross that bridge? We're never going to find out. We always take it down the road to and from, because I don't trust that bridge to hold that much weight. It does fine with the four-wheeler and it does fine with the side-by-side, but I would never want to push it taking something that weighs as much as the tractor loaded down with an implement, loaded rear tires, and the weight on the front. So look how good that looks. The brush hog does a great job on exactly this type of stuff. I mean, there were some saplings. You can see the little trees start to grow over there on the edge. It cuts through those, no problem. Obviously it takes care of the weeds and the grass. We got all the way back to the bridge, so from my end of the right of way to Dad's end of the right of way, completely cleaned out. I got it in fourth gear. On the way back, we'll give that a try at low throttle. I keep my foot on the steering to keep it stable. Olive, go do your business. Go do your business. Go do